All right. Gee whiz. You know, it's the best laid plans of mice and men. What can I say? Welcome. Glad you're here. I'm barely here. And yeah, so let's make sure everything's working here. Check, check, check. Microphone. Looks a little low to me. What do you think? Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test, 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 test. And bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Hold on, let's see what's going on here. What's going on here? All right. So let's make sure we're not outsmarting ourselves. Video sources output 1, master. Let's try that. Okay. All right. Well, I'd hoped to have a big group. Sorry about that. But we're still in pre-show, so there's still a chance. And I had invited a number of people. And, you know, I probably waited too late. That's on me. That's on me. So I've got somebody kind of warming up in the bullpen. They're working on their audio. And when they get their audio worked out, we will get them on the call, as they say. Right now, their audio is muted. Oh, maybe it's not muted. Hold on a second. Let's see, 1 second. Do I have audio access here? Let me see what I need to do to get access to audio. You would think I would know that myself. All right. Well, let's see what the TB will do. All right. And let's make that on. So do we have somebody on the line? I saw a bunch of activity, audio activity on it. There we go.
Hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, I'm hearing me too.
Yeah, that's because you're on a speaker. My apologies. Let me see if I can tone that down.
I think I'm hearing me locally.
Well, that's always a possibility too. If your vMix call is, depending on how that's set up, of course, you just set it up, so. You should, depending on how you're listening, if you're listening through your headset, in vMix, you would go to Settings, top right-hand corner, into Audio Outputs, and kind of connect where it says Headphones to whatever your headset is. In theory, it's that easy, but in reality, it's not always the case. Okay, let's see here. Thank you. All right. Yeah? Well, let me try something else with my headphones here so I don't have a local echo for you. The bestest laid plans. I do?
So that's what I just hit solo on the vMix call, so I'm not hearing myself in headphones.
All right, that'll work. Let's try this here. I'm sorry. Say again. It's funny when you don't use things for a while, they don't work the way they did before.
But this is the first time I've used vMix on a brand new computer.
Aha. Aha. Well, Michael Graves, you look 10 years younger than the last time I saw you. Are you hearing me okay?
I am.
Okay.
You're fine.
Good enough. Because I just paid you a big compliment. I was expecting a big smile or some sort of grimace or something.
I'm right down to it. They are foreign to me. I'll be turning 60 this year, so.
You'll be turning 60? Wow, that's a big one.
And I recalled just the other day that my maternal grandfather lived to 60. How I'm doing well.
Cool.
So, what was our discussion to be about today?
Well, have you got the chat handy?
Let's check. Yes, let's get into that, shall we?
And there's plenty of folks commenting on our warm up, but that's okay.
Audio's a little low. Well, you know what? It's actually it's bringing up like beacon on my vMix instance, so it's giving it all I can do.
Yeah, it's peaking on mine too. Let's see. And I've added 5 decibels. Let's back that off just a tad. And
No, it's not a Kirsten Bell.
I'm sorry, say again.
A decibel is not a Kirsten Bell. My wife has been binge watching a Kirsten Bell series for the last 2 days.
Okay, let's see. All right, so people can hear me, but they're struggling to hear you. And he is just on the bottom end of distortion here.
Better now.
No, about the same.
Now I'm hearing myself again. Yeah, solo off.
Gotcha. Well, um, maybe what people are hearing is you. Oh, let's try this. Sorry about that.
Hey, you gotta
Yeah,
turn me
what
on.
people we're hearing it as an echo. Because all
There
I
you
can
go.
figure out right this second is how to get Michael on speakers. My bad.
Stream out. Yeah, okay. No, not screaming, streaming. It's different.
No, your audio's good now. It was
Okay,
on me. Totally on me.
no problem. Well, yeah, so this is the first time I've used vMix on this brand new Lenovo portable workstation, and it's a lovely laptop, and I hate it. I hate
What
it
don't you
because I
like
bought it
about it?
to replace a desktop. Well, I'm accustomed to having a desktop, which is kind of probably like you. You build vMix systems. You're used to working on a chassis that has lots of ports and lots of opportunity for storage and lots of I/O. And I replaced a desktop with a laptop with a docking station. Except they don't make docking stations anymore. They're more like what we used to call port replicators,
Right?
and it's a tangled abomination. And I don't like it. And it's a wonderful, powerful, lovely laptop, but it's too heavy for a laptop in my opinion, and not expansible enough for a desktop. So literally last night, I bought myself a gaming system. I'm expecting that delivered to be delivered to be a real desktop. Basically, it's a 3 month long experiment where I have failed to move from a desktop to a laptop as a desktop.
I understand your pain because when I'm away from the studio and away from this system that's sitting over to my right, I feel handcuffed by anything else.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
We're used when you're used to working on really powerful computers, and then you have to be constrained to one little tiny screen that's sitting right in
Sure.
front of you.
Sure.
It's like looking out an airplane
Although
window.
I will say I did a complete Streaming Idiot show probably 5 years ago from a Microsoft tablet. Um,
Mm.
Whatever it is, sitting over there in the bag, because that's all I had and I was away. And so I remoted into the system here in the studio and used that basically to run the show. And I just came in as a guest.
So
It
you've
was
been
fun.
building systems for a long time,
I have.
and I think the first time I watched Streaming Idiots, we were talking about like i7 4700s as being really top end, and now we wouldn't we'd look down our nose at such hardware, but they still worked. They work so well.
Oh yeah.
10
Oh yeah.
generations back, 12 years ago or something.
But today's consumer is not going to accept technology of that era.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. I want to future proof myself. And the i7s that I'm building today, the Core Ultra 7 265K or whatever it is, um, feel 3 times as powerful as what I built 5 years ago. Um,
And we used to be extremely picky about the GPUs because we leaned hard on the GPUs because the CPUs weren't so capable. And now we have even more powerful GPUs. I was the desktop I just replaced had a GTX 750 Ti, and it actually was serving me handily 10 years on. Um, and so the one I bought a used gaming system last night, and it's got a 3060 Ti in it, and it's just a little portable NUC 11 Extreme. Got more memory than I thought existed in the universe back when I was a kid. 64 gig of memory. Anyway, it'll be fun.
I remember the first computer I ever sold had 64K. That was back in the MS-DOS CP/M days.
Wow.
Way back
You
when.
know, I never used CP/M, but I had a friend who had an Osborne portable, and he was a big fan of CP/M. So those are terrible, terrible, terrible computers.
You like what you know, you get comfortable with it. I remember when Windows came out, I was like, oh, Windows, no, 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 no. Give me MS-DOS where I can control everything. Gradually won over.
Yeah. You know what took me back though is when Raspberry Pis came out, and it motivated me to start playing with the Linux command line, and that took me back to DOS days, where I remember command lines. You can actually do things with this, and that was fun.
That's funny because I'm about to buy a Raspberry Pi.
And for what purpose?
Well, vMix has a new capability in it, sort of their own brand of NDI called OMT, Open Media Transport. And it's open source. Anybody can play with it. And they've figured out how to do video transfer to and from a Raspberry Pi using OMT. So you can set it up as a remote monitor or a remote camera. So probably more tinkering than anything that's going to hit the professional ranks, but still, it's fun.
Now, I'm
That's
enthralled by this. I'm enthralled by this. You might be aware that some time ago, I did some experiments because the NDI folks came out with an NDI player for Android. It was like an NDI module you could load on an Android device and use it to pick up an NDI stream and display it on a monitor. And it was possible to run that on a Raspberry Pi. And so, there was a gentleman off in Eastern Europe. I can't remember. He was like maybe Bulgarian. He wrote a little free software that you could load on a Raspberry Pi, hook up to a monitor, pick up an NDI stream. And I wanted to use this for a digital signage solution. Live stream to digital monitors, throw it on a network, wire up all these TVs, put a Raspberry Pi on the back of each monitor, and away you go. And I was, at the time, volunteering for the rodeo here in Houston, and I thought this would be wonderful. Except it didn't quite work because Raspberry Pis, that was Pi 4s, could only reliably deliver 720p 30. A Pi 4 could not reliably deliver 1080p 30. And I did a fairly elaborate evaluation with high frame rate clocks to prove that the Pi couldn't quite do it. Actually, I was trying to prove that it could, and it didn't. And I was going to rerun that with a Pi 5, but I never got around to it because, basically things like the little bird dog decoders, they were more expensive, but they were also more reliable and more manageable, and they sort of took up that slack.
Yeah, in fact, they've just upgraded and re-released the Pro, the Play, and they're calling it the Play Pro or the Play Go or something. Anyway, it's a new and improved version. But that was a neat little piece of hardware.
Yeah, and there was an app for at the time you could load to a Chromecast and it would pick up an NDI stream, but Chromecasts weren't. Even the current generation of Chromecasts were not sufficiently capable to do that. But I tried.
I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yes, Otis, the Houston Livestock Show opens this month. I'm taking a bit of a sabbatical from that organization, but it's on its way.
one of my best clients is a rodeo announcer in
Oh,
Texas.
really?
Yep, yep. TC Long, and he and his wife travel all over the state to various rodeos, and he does announcing, and she's got some PTZ cameras that they throw up on the video board that they bring with them, so people can see the replay of the barrel racing or whatever it might be.
You know, the rodeo here in Houston is a really big operation, and if you ever get the opportunity, their control room is a sight to behold. It's um, basically like any major market TV station. Uh, Although their staff is thinned out quite a lot, and they hire a lot of freelancers these days.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You know, Michael, here's a question for you. That doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, but I was talking about this with Sandy, my wife, this morning, and I'm wondering if live streaming, I mean, I know YouTube is going great and anything pre-recorded is doing very, very well. But I wonder if live streaming has kind of hit its peak and is beginning to diminish a little bit. I see kind of fewer and fewer homegrown live streams. Um, and a lot of people are simply just taking their what otherwise would be televised product and sending it out to the internet where they can monetize it more directly. Um, and I just wonder if we've kind of peaked, if we're at the top of that good old bell curve, and we're going to see a decline in live streaming, and thus, people like me in the future. Um,
I think you might be onto something there, and I would maybe phrase it a little differently. Um, Streaming is doing very well, but it's all asynchronous. It's on demand, and so live streaming is really good. But if I go back to my earlier experience, which is singular, and it's your audience does this more routinely. I did a podcast that turned into a live stream that went on for a decade, but has been gone for some years. We started out doing a live thing and capturing a live panel discussion or a live interview, but the preponderance of the audience was always watching the recordings after the fact. So this is kind of where this is kind of the same thing, isn't it? Is that it's hard to engage a group of people in real time. They used to say must see TV, but is there any must see TV anymore? We all get it when we get it, right?
I think the one exception to that might be sports, because once you know what the final result is, you're not as interested in going back and watching the entire event. Um, and I'll do that. I'll set up something to record, and once I know the score, I'm like, well, never mind. I'm not going to go back and watch it now that I know what the score is, unless there was somebody I really wanted to see or some team that I thought shouldn't have won and did. I wanted to see why. But I think sporting events are where live is its strongest. That and anything that is happening now, and I'm thinking about kind of news, kind of citizen news type stuff. I think that's going to continue to do well for the
I think
live fans.
you've got a reasonable hand in the market of church services, and I think that's also people want to engage traditionally when it's coming down. I,
Yep.
I don't I don't know that there's a market for after the fact viewing of that, but there might be, I guess.
Funny, because our church has been doing live streaming, of course, way before COVID, since about 2016. And what we found was, and these weren't huge numbers, but we might get 5 people watching live, and then 20 views after the fact of people that either weren't there and didn't have a chance to watch live and so went back, or people that I've had a lot of people comment to me, I was there, but I zoned out during this part of the sermon. I want to go back and catch it. Um, but I don't see that as a growing market. Churches that are live streaming are going to continue to live stream. They probably won't stop live streaming, but I don't see a great entry into that market by churches. In in 2020, there was a Monday during COVID where I got 81 phone calls from churches looking for information on how to live stream. Obviously, I couldn't return all those calls, but that doesn't happen today. I mean, why should it?
Well, COVID was a special case, and let's go say that.
Yeah,
Now, the company that pays my wage since 2013 is a company called ZipDX, and they are fundamentally a telecom company. They're basically a conference calling platform, or at least that's one of their businesses. And when COVID hit, Zoom was around and WebEx was around, but they were poquito, they were little. Um, and when COVID hit, they exploded, and
sure.
and everybody who was in the connecting people business exploded. Like our business, for a period of about 3 years, it quadrupled, and we were literally building out new data center installations in order to put where we would normally have 1,000 people on the phone at any given moment. There were times there when we had 4,000 people on the phone,
Sure.
and we're a tiny little specialist company. So it probably extended the life of our company by 5 or 6 years. Uh, and that has completely tapered off now. We're back down to just the clients who really need us because of the peculiar things that we do that address their specific requirements.
What did you do with
But
all
back
those data
then,
centers?
well, when we see data centers, one of our installations is like 12 or 16 U in a data center in Hong Kong, and another 12 or 16 U in a data center in London. And so we were literally buying a few more U's and having some new gear racked and that kind of thing. We have physical hardware all connected up by VPNs and such. So, and we were in London and Singapore and Los Angeles and Washington D.C. Um,
Cool.
and the hardware we have in those places are like the equivalent of 3 of your vMix racks,
Uh-huh.
but they're handling at any given time a couple thousand phone calls.
Sure.
So,
Sure. My brother worked for a nonprofit up in Boston, and they had spent, I think he said, about $80,000 on a conferencing system because they had, people they needed to be in touch with on a regular basis, meetings and such. And that was, I think, the year before COVID. And then when Zoom blew up and Teams blew up and everything else blew up, they were just like, there's $80,000 for the most part down the drain because we can do it all now with a laptop and a big screen in the conference room.
goodness, I
Good old
apologize
days.
for that. That's what AI does. That's an AI, one of these little Insta360 cameras that tries to hold you in frame, except sometimes it doesn't.
Well, yeah, it'll get better. It'll get better. My favorite was the AI that did the soccer match, and it somehow decided that the bald-headed referee's head was the soccer ball, and so it
Oh
followed
dear.
him up and down the sideline as he did his half of the field. And it took a while before it, I guess maybe halftime, it came back and picked up the ball again.
See,
But
the
there'll
lesson
always be
here is
those
I
kind of
needed
classic stories.
I needed to move my vMix display so that I was seeing you right under the webcam so that the eye lines would be correct.
Yeah,
Um, because I just
yeah.
hate it when somebody's.
Oh, we just lost him. We just lost him. He turned his head and he disappeared. He'll be back. He'll be back. Well, while he does, and he might still be able to hear, but one of my favorite stories about companies that do things without thinking about them is General Motors, is Chevrolet. Back in the 70s, they had a very popular automobile called the Nova, and they decided that they would export that to Mexico, and they would keep the same name. And yeah, I'm just double checking. Make sure Michael wasn't trying to message me. Nope, doesn't look like it. And so they couldn't believe that the sales of their most popular automobile were just poo. And they finally, somebody finally, leaned over to him and said, guys, you are trying to sell a car called the Nova. Did you know what Nova means in Spanish? Nobody is going to buy a car called the No-Go. And yeah, that goes in there like with the new Coke. And I think that's my brother's organization. They didn't do their homework, and they saw all the bells and the whistles, and they didn't see. They should have seen, because they were operating with somebody else's money, and they should have been more frugal and more watchful. And Michael is in Texas. Otis, are you still on the line? Are you? Wonder if you got a OG. Are you still on the line? Wonder if there was a power outage because of the weather that happened in Texas. Was it last winter? Last winter was pretty brutal over there. Well, we'll see. We will see, and we'll give him a minute. We'll leave him up there just in case he comes back. We'll see him right there. So Michael mentioned that I'd been building PCs for vMix for a while, and I was looking back in my notes the other day, and my first PC, well, my second and third, were built for a racetrack up in Michigan. They wanted 2 PCs that could do replay, and I built them 2, and actually put vMix on them, and they did not like that. They wanted something that was more reliable and easier to use. And they introduced me to vMix. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, there we go. We'll give Michael the rest of the day off, because he may not be back. We'll have to see. So that was how I got started, and had to have a vMix license available. And so I went to vMix and said, hey, can I be a reseller? And they were like, sure, send us money and you can be a reseller. That was back in the bad old days, 2016. Oh, 2014. 2014? Yeah, that was 2014. 2014. And they said, yes, you can be a reseller. And then they started, once they let me in, they started tightening the rules with good reason. Bright sunny day, Otis says, in Houston. So not likely that Michael had a power issue, but you never know. You never know. We're sorry for that. Let me just check on something here and see if he is... Yeah, it said the call connected. In fact, it says he's still on, but he's lost contact with his audio and his video, it looks like. But the connection is still here. Let me shift back here, and then let me see if I can't go to desktop capture, and we'll go there. And then let me come down here, and you can see the call manager, and he is still connected. He's been connected since 1:55 Central Time, and he's connected at 720p. He's got a latency of 512 milliseconds, so that's half a second. That's unfortunate, but as you could see, it wasn't too bad. And his audio is delayed by almost the same amount, slightly less, 490 milliseconds. But he is still online, and he just doesn't have audio or video. How about that? darndest stuff. You just never know with this newfangled 80-year-old technology. I say 80-year-old because, you know, when we started doing live streaming, some of us back in 08, and then got, you know, more professional about 2012. So 12, 13 years. Think about that, you know, computer years are kind of like dog years. So 12 years would be 84 years. So yeah, it's been 84 years. Otis said he had that problem the other day and he had to do peer-to-peer. And Giles is here. Hello, Giles. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I want to keep an eye on Michael here. Oh, he's disconnected now. Okay. Maybe he'll reconnect. But he is officially disconnected for whatever reason. And we'll see if he pops right back in. In fact, he'll come back up in my preview window, so I'll know when he's there. Jono is in the chat and says, he's talking about church services, that he finds that a lot of people just scrub to the lesson or the sermon or the message or whatever you call it in your tradition, and just watch that. And I think that's probably appropriate. I know that's what I do. I mean, I'll go sit in church on Sunday morning in the, I would say in the pew, but it's really a chair. And oh, Michael says his Windows USB stack died. Oh my gosh, that is the worst. I hate when that happens. Let's see if we can get him up. We'll just switch over to this one for just a second because it's got the chat in it. And we can make this official, sort of the post show. What is a Windows USB stack? And how can it die? Did you unplug it? Did you pour Pepsi on it? To pick up the discussion Michael and I were having about live streaming, I would say that of the clients that I'm building systems for in January, 6 of them were for one company that will take them and use them to do replay in football stadiums and basketball arenas and hockey venues as part of a larger system. One of them will go into a new city hall in their meeting space to be used for signage and live streaming and recording and, you know, display of you know, the current speaker, that kind of thing. So that's kind of live streaming, but it's mostly not. One of them will go to a church as a live streaming system. Another one will go to a church as a live streaming system. What else we got? Looking around here for anything else that we've got active right now. And then I've got quotes out, tons of quotes, and actually most of those are for live streaming. A couple of churches, some conventional organizations like TV stations and the like that will use it for live on internet as opposed to live on air. So yeah. This little guy right here, whoops, right there, is so fun. So fun. We're going to sell a bunch of those. It's just like a lunchbox, except it doesn't have a screen on it. I'd love to figure out a way to mount a screen on it. Maybe I will. And this right here, that is the Obtainium system that's all built ready to go, just needs to be connected to a vMix T-bar control surface that arrived today. The reason it's still open and doesn't have a lid on it is once I get the vMix, the X keys connected to it, I will get everything configured. Once I shut it down, then we put foam in that case so that we can ship it without everything moving around too much. So that's why it's open. It's just waiting for the foam and waiting for the X keys. And then, let's see, you can't see it, or can you see it? Maybe I'll go this way. Yeah, there we go. This little guy is the 6th system that's going to the customer for the venues. Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm going to look back through chat here and see what I might have missed. So Jono was asked a while back, have any changes been made to OMT about bandwidth requirements? And actually, I think yes. It depends on changes from when to when, but yes, I think they have. But I don't think that's reflected on the vMix website necessarily. It may be, I think there's actually an OMT website. Let me see. Open Media Transport. openmediatransport.org. And yeah, it looks like they're more adopters than before. Central control. Well, let me see. Let me just bring this in since I've got it here. Desktop capture. There we go. So we've got central control. Of course, that's Joe. We need to get him on. Miri Technology, Sienna, Soft Volume or Soft Vellum, and SRT Mini Server. And then, of course, vMix. Contact us to be added to the list. Well, you can add me to the list. Ha! And the website's just a tad out of date, but that's all right. Not a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. We'll work it all out one day. We'll work it all out one day. Well, guys, I'm sorry that that Michael couldn't stay with us. I am fascinating individual. Love to visit him in person. Maybe he and Otis and I can, and OG can have lunch together one day. I'd have to get out their way. I'm sure they wouldn't be coming here. So let me wrap up, and I'm going to wrap up with the, where is it? It's right here. There we go, right there. With the new song. So if you haven't heard the new song, have a listen. We'll see you next week.
Well, it's the end of the show, the lights are down low. We've had some laughs and now it's time to go. Streaming idiots, delight on display. Hope you enjoyed it. We had fun today. From the very first laugh to the final goodbye, we shared our moments, oh my, oh my. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. Each week we gather with jokes and smiles, from techie mishaps to quirky styles. Every stream is magic, a little surprise. More than just a show, it's all about the ties. We're a family here, part of your feed, chasing the giggles, fulfilling the need. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. So grab your popcorn and settle right in. With laughs on the screen, let the fun begin. From the couch or your bed, wherever you be, join us next time, come laugh with glee. We love your comments, your hearts and your cheers. Together we make memories that last through the years. So we wave goodbye, but don't shed a tear. We'll be back next week to bring you more cheer. In this digital age, we're all on a roll, streaming idiots. It's more than a stroll. Just hit that like and don't you forget. Keep spreading the joy, the fun's not done yet. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. So here's to the laughter, the joy that we share. With every single moment, we'll always be there. As the curtains close and the credits roll. Thanks, guys, for being part of our soul.